This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This your boy Black Magus back with another old gamer rant, and gonna talk about PC gaming a little bit. As a lot of you recently have seen, I built a computer. Thank you to everybody who supported the series where I discuss computer building and different things that you can get, things that I suggest that you do. Hopefully I was able to help someone steer themselves down the path that they wanted to go as far as PC gaming goes. Now, what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is PC problems. And it's the one big thing that kind of scares everybody who aren't really interested in diving into the world of PC gaming. It's what scares them off the most, I think. And rightfully so. I think one of the things that I've noticed from a lot of people who prefer PC is that they're no different than console fanboys, in the aspect that they won't always tell you the whole story. They'll only tell you what they feel will compel you to agree with their side of the argument. Just like Xbox fans will always say our network's better, our internet's better, blah 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 blah, right? PlayStation fans will always say we got the best exclusives, blah 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 blah. But no one will tell you, like, well, Xbox One's interface has been known to have issues, or no one will say things like Sony has had problems with their internet. It's like they're never going to admit to certain flaws or certain positives of their competition, because it doesn't suit them. And that's what a lot of PC gamers do too. It doesn't suit a PC gamer's argument that PC gaming is best if they're going to tell you about the ins and outs of PC gaming, the things that can frustrate you, that can keep you away from them. And I will say this, out of all the platforms to game on, PC is definitely the most complicated and can be the most infuriating. It's one thing where, we talk about how, okay, Xbox One, Battlefield Hardline, you get, I think, 900p on PlayStation 4, 720 on Xbox One, and they're both held to like a certain frames per second. I think they're both 60 frames per second, but let's just make for the argument like both of them are just 30 frames per second. Whereas on a PC, I can definitely run it at a higher frame rate. I can definitely run it at a higher resolution. If I have the right configuration, right card and everything. Hell, my base motherboard is designed to actually run things in 4K. I'm not sure how well it would do that. It depends mostly on how good my processor is, and I feel like I have a really good processor, as I have a i7 Haswell 3.6, so I think I could probably stretch that out. Of course, if I wait and get the next class of Intels, I'm pretty sure I will be able to do that just straight off a motherboard if I really wanted to go that way. But my video card, it's not that good enough to run that. But see, that's the thing. You heard what I just said? My video card's not good enough to run that. A lot of people are not going to tell you that certain components, certain parts, as good as they are, they're not able to do everything. And that's the reality of PC gaming, is that you will not have to consistently do it, but there will sometimes be occasions that are going to arise where you're going to have to invest time and money into this again, just in order to get a game to its optimal state. I mentioned this before. The Witcher 3, its system requirements, my computer's good enough to run it, but I don't think it's good enough to run it at the optimization, because My graphics card is a little bit under what they is actually, now that I think about graphics card, it's a shade under the required, because they require, I believe, a GTX 660. I have a 650. Now I can tell you from a past experience that you can fudge that a little bit, simply because I've done it before where I've had other components on my computer that were a lot better than other things required. Like, I believe it requires a... What was the base requirement for the processor? I used to have this in my head. But it's not that powerful of a processor. It's one of the older i-series processors, whereas I have the latest generation of i-processors, and I have the top of the line. I mean, I'm one step away from the best i7 on the market right now. Of course, like, again, Intel's about to drop some new processors, so that's going to change. But I am like that. I have a 3.6. The highest is a 4.0. That's how close I am. So, yeah, I have, that's good. I only have 8 gigs of memory, but it only requires, I believe, 4. So I've doubled up in that aspect. And my card is pretty decent enough to where, combining all those things, I'll probably be able to run it, just not at full optimization. Now, if I want to use the recommended stats, I'm going to have to go and spend about $100, $150, somewhere between 100, I would say closer to the 150, 200 range maybe, to get a GTX 780, so that I could try and run it at optimum. Actually, not try. I will be able to run it at optimum level at that point. Of course, if I wanted to spend hundreds more, I can just get a 960, and I can really run it like at an incredible rate. But of course, I only have a 1080p monitor, so it doesn't matter whether or not I get that graphics card, because my monitor isn't good enough to run anything higher. I can't run 14.4. I can't run 4K, anything like that. So it would be me buying something just to say I can do it more than anything else. See what I'm going with at this? It's not as simple as a lot of people want to make it out to be. And this is why consoles continue to be probably the preferable platform for most gamers, because I can come home with my PS4, my Xbox One, my Wii U, plug it to my TV, power it on, and know that every game that I purchase for it, I can play at the best of its capabilities. Whereas with the PC, yes, I can shit on any console game. But in order for me to shit on any console game, I need to have the right equipment. And if I don't have the right equipment, well, it's going to take me time and money. Otherwise, I may end up with a game that may not perform as well as it does on console, because my hardware isn't up to snuff. And there's been occasions where people have ran into that situation. Let's not be blind here. You do have to invest a good amount of money. I didn't have to spend a lot because I knew how to search for deals, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do to get what I wanted out of my PC. So I, collectively, including the older parts that I had, I may have topped off at $800, which is a pretty damn good price. A little bit more than I needed to spend, to be quite honest, if I was just strictly going for gaming, because you can get some gaming builds for $500. But know this, while there's going to be aspects where it's going to be, in fact, for this pretty much a guarantee, it's going to look better than current consoles, you still have issues to worry about. You have to worry about compatibility with hardware and software, driver issues. Someone I know on YouTube, Pico 210, shout out to him. He was just talking about how he's having a memory leak problem on his computer, and he has to figure that out because he, it's just something that is hampering his video production and his gaming. You have to worry about stuff like that. It's not as simple as console don't work, I can use my warranty to replace it, or I just go buy another one. PCs, you probably don't want to just go buy another one because you're going to invest a lot more money in that, and it may be as simple as replacing one part, but you're going to have to replace that part. You have to pay somebody to replace that part if you don't do it yourself. You have to make sure you know what that part is if you're going to replace it. I love the control of PC gaming, but I can't sit here and lie to people and say that it's not a hassle. I just sat here and had to re-download Heart of the Swarm, and because they have a new patch, and it told me to uninstall it and reinstall it to get the patch. I just did that, and I'm looking dead in the face of the screen now where it says that there's an error and it's not allowing me to install the game again. So now I gotta figure out, wait, so why can't I install the game that I purchased? Because your new patch is fucking shit up? Is that it? That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So it's stuff like that. You know, the things like with Watch Dogs, there was some driver compatibility, I heard. All types of little nuances like that makes you just like, man, you know, PC gaming is great, but it can just so drive me up the wall. And that's the reality, is that if you don't have the patience for this, don't do it. I would tell everybody, you need to have the patience, and you need to understand that it's just not as simple as, okay, I got this, so let me just pop the game in and it's going to play the way I want it to play and do what I want it to do. It doesn't always work like that. I would say 7 times out of 10 it does, but it's definitely more frequent to problems as far as software compatibility than you can have on a console. Believe that though. But I would never steer anybody away from PC gaming. I just wish that PC gamers would be very honest about the medium to people before they start to try to convert people to the master race. Yes, again, PC game, the way they perform better, but there are a lot of complications, and I didn't even touch on all of the complications that can arise. I just touched on a few, and this video took me 12 minutes. So, you know, think about it when you decide to switch to a PC gamer. If you have the mentality, the patience, you know, the mindset to delve into this genre. If you do, it can be very, very rewarding. Just expect frustrations to come. You know what I mean? But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. As always, you guys hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Makers, and I'm out. Deuces.